Hey, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. If you have a cup of coffee, join me in it. If you don't, go get one. I want to talk today a little bit about war. War. Are we going to have war with China, or are we not going to have war with China? And this isn't going to be probably like any others that you've seen. I don't know. I haven't watched any of the others, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I have a little bit different, usually have a little bit different take on it than some others, and I want to talk about that and about what you should be thinking, what you should be doing about it. Before I get started, I'll wait for a second. I woke up this morning, and I've heard, I know what's happening. I don't keep daily touch with the news so much. I will start again as we start rolling out more on American Reversion Channel, because that's what that channel is about. But I've been busy doing other things, and so I don't keep up with the daily catastrophe, because most of the time the daily catastrophes are not a daily catastrophe. They are things that kind of wind up and then either dissipate or wind down or whatever. They are things to be kept in mind, such as the droughts, such as the price of food and fuel and what that's going to be. But it's not something that particularly disrupts my day and disrupts my life, and it shouldn't yours either. So anyway, I have been aware of what's happening with Princess Pelosi going over to Taiwan, and the big hoopla about that, and the going back and forth, and the rah, from both sides on this. I haven't been particularly concerned about it, to be honest. And I was talking to my youngest son about it yesterday, which I'll get to in a second. So I get up this morning, and I see there's a live feed there of what's purported to be Pelosi's plane on the ground. It's dark over there. Plane on the ground, and at is it Taipei? Well, I don't know where they flew into. All these is a live feed, and all these comments are going. I don't know what half of them are saying, because half of them are in languages that I don't read. And then I look at all of the news headlines, and they're trying to scare you to death, and some are it's going to be horrible, and some are it's going to be great, and I see a lot of channels have come out with it, and I haven't watched any of them, and some of them I actually do watch periodically. Most of them I don't, but I haven't watched any of them on purpose, because I didn't want to subconsciously lift anything out of or sound like I was responding to anything when I wasn't. So these are my own thoughts and my own advice to you all. Before we get deeper into this, remind you that this is brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series, right there. And the first one being the Reversion, and then the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, and the Blessings of Freedom. And for the new people, and by the way, welcome to all the new people out there. We keep growing. We keep have people coming on and joining both on YouTube and on Patreon. And it's great to have you. A couple of things. I'm going to do, remember how Rush Limbaugh used to do the caller seminar to help people know how to call? I'm going to do kind of a welcome to new subscribers and a reminder to old viewers or something like that about kind of how we do things here and how to go about. I'm not going to do that right now, but I had a couple of people that I had to kind of respond to yesterday that got a little bit out of bounds, and I don't want to bounce people off. I don't like that, so I will do that. Basically, just be polite, be nice. But anyway, this is brought to you by my books, and what these are is exactly, it's a novel series, but it's exactly how to prepare and then survive and then rebuild from a total collapse. And I talk about, I can get into it a lot more in 5 books than I can in a 20 to 30 minute video, or even, I don't know how many videos I've got out, several on it, but even through all of those. But anyway, I won't go any more into that. If you want to really know about how to get prepared for whatever happens, These books are going to tell you, and the way to get them is right down here in the information section. Also a pinned comment. Right below, if you'll notice if you go down there, there's a link if you'd like to join us on the Patreon channel. And we'd love to have you, because I put stuff over there that I don't put on YouTube. And how to get the books, both through Amazon and through, if you want to get autographed copies from me. And I'm headed up later on today to the post office to mail off a bunch of autographed copies. So if you have ordered some, they will be on their way. So now and also those books, interestingly, I've had a number of people tell me that as a result of those books, they have gone off and started their own stone mounts. That's very interesting. And if you want to know how to survive anything pretty much that's coming, stone mount is the way to do it. We'll have t-shirts pretty soon. I wasn't going to mention that, but we will. There's a lot of exciting things going on in the background in the world of integrative preparedness and stone mount. I think a lot of you are going to be very, very interested in it. So yesterday I took my second son out. I had an empty propane tank, and I asked him, you want to go out to Menards with me to get this and do a couple of things? He said sure. So we went out there and I started talking to him about it, and I says, how much do you know about what's going on with China and all that? Now he's about to enter the 7th grade, so you know, the average 7th grader doesn't keep track of what's going on with China, right? Or what's going on with the EMF, or what's going on with Klaus Schwab, or anything like this, you know, except when he hears from mom and dad. And they do hear some things, as you can imagine, being our kids. They hear, you know, quite a bit of that stuff. But you never know exactly how much they're picking up. Well, they pick up more than you think. I've been kind of impressed with my kids lately at how much they understand. Not only do they remember a lot of the things that they've heard or that we've taught them, but now they're getting to the point where they're starting to think on their own and coming up with suggestions, and it's really pretty cool. So I explained, I says, how much do you know? He said, not a lot. He says, I heard, you know, something about, are we going to go to war with China and all that, and you know, when you're a kid, you don't care. You figure mom and dad are going to take care of things, so you don't get too worried. At least I didn't, and my kids don't. I figured my parents would take care of everything, anything that happened. You know, they'd probably go over, and my dad would tell that Khrushchev, you knock it off, buddy, and Khrushchev would. That's what I thought of my dad. So anyway, I explained to him. I kind of told him what was going on. I says, we're not going to go to war. The countries go back and forth. I mean, probably 99% we're not going to go to war. You know, you can always have a Sarajevo moment, and bang, you know, something pops off. It usually pops off because there's people that are wanting to pop off, and they're doing the small things that are going to take you to the pop-off point. But I said, 99% nothing's going to happen. But what can happen is that if we're poking somebody else, they're going to poke us back. And it may not be war, even though I saw today, China's driving their amphibious tanks up to the beach, and they're doing all sorts of things, and they're okay. Those things happen all the time. So, we're probably not going to get into a war. And I talked to him, got into a little bit more about, Chiang Kai-shek and Formosa, Taiwan, and one China policy and all that a 7th grader isn't really interested in, but he paid attention. He listened anyway. I says, so we're probably not going to go to war, but you don't know what kind of poke we're going to get in return. And our main responsibility, my responsibility as your father, as the head of the family, is to make sure that these things that are pushed by idiots, that we can't control, the people in politics, affect us as little as possible. And so that's what we're doing. If Pelosi lands there, they're not going to shoot her plane down. But we could be expecting some cyber attacks. Okay, so if a cyber attack hits, who knows what, a fuel depot, a fuel terminal, a banking system, a credit card processing, debit card processing system, All sorts of things could happen, and all of a sudden, gas goes from $3.59, which we paid yesterday when we topped off the tanks, to $6. I don't want to pay $6 tomorrow when I could pay $3.59 today. And we always keep the tanks full. But if you remember, after 9/11, I don't even remember what gas was back then. It was not much, And all of a sudden, I know one station close by went up to $6 a gallon. You would have thought you were in Yellowstone, and you people up in the Northwest, my God, I wouldn't imagine what you all would be paying for fuel, and that in California. So I explained to him that this is what we're doing. Nothing's going to happen, but things could happen. I mean, nothing. The end of the world is not coming, probably. But things could happen to take away from our quality of life, and to throw us into a survival situation immediately. In cases like this, maybe for a short term. But those situations, how you weather those and how comfortable or uncomfortable they are all going to depend on how prepared you are. So I said, so we're going to go fill up this propane tank so that, if we need to be cooking out on the grill, everything for a while, we're going to have the propane to do it. We're going to top off our tanks so that, if gas skyrockets for a while, we're going to save a little bit of money there. What else did we do? We did a couple of other things. Oh, we went past. I checked the freezer, and I saw how much space there was left in the freezer. And our local grocery store was having ground beef on sale for $2.99 a pound. And so I went past there, and I bought as much as it would take to fill up the empty spot in the freezer and the empty spot in the refrigerator. Okay. So I explained that's just a matter of keeping on top of things. And don't be afraid. Some of you have seen, and I might put this up again over on the Patreon channel. It was a video that I shot of my kids years ago when they were thinking about putting together a YouTube channel of their own. And I might put it up over there, and they're, because it's just as cute as can be, and they're pretty sharp. And this is, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that, maybe longer, 5 or 6 years ago. And their catchphrase was, "Don't be scared, be prepared." Well, that's exactly the message that I want to put here, and particularly for new preppers, for those just getting into it. You'll find that there are people who are addicted to the drama. It's an addiction. It really is, and it doesn't have anything to do with real preparedness. Although I understand you can be concerned, you can be scared if you really believe something's coming, and something is coming. We just don't know when. Something's always coming. But if you're new, don't blow yourself out over it. Just start preparing normally, within your budget, within your means to do it, little by little. There are plenty of, go back in all of my videos, there's plenty of information back there about how to do that, but don't get all upset. The real point of this is that most of the things that people are afraid of never happen, are really worried about. Either they don't happen at all, or they don't happen to the extent that the people are afraid that they might. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't happen. They can happen. They can happen. This is the thing to always keep in mind. Anything can happen anywhere at any time. But bringing it back to living a life, a reasonable, decent, non-frightened life, the main thing to keep in mind is that things may happen in the world that are beyond our control. And what we want to do is make sure that we have taken the steps to mitigate how that affects us negatively. Does that make sense? We don't want it to have a negative effect on us to the extent that we can help it. So basic preparedness is the key to that. And I was out watering the garden earlier this morning, and I was thinking about what somebody had said. I don't remember what it was, who it was, and it was a matter. It was about this. It was about being afraid. Usually, when somebody is just, bonkers scared, the solution to that is to start doing something to solve the problem. If you're worried about a problem, as soon as you start working on the problem, you stop worrying so much, or you should, because worrying is what you do when you're not doing anything, to prepare yourself for a problem, or you're not preparing for a problem. So that's the thing. What's going to happen with Pelosi? I don't know. We could have some hiccups. We could have some cyber attacks. We could have this. We could have that. We could have the big one, but probably not. Probably not. Realize that preparedness is about, as I've said, the concept of integrative preparedness is to be able to survive well, to live well, not just to survive. I don't want to just survive. That's the first step to living, of course. But you want to be able to live well, even totally separate from all of those interconnected systems of the world over which you have little or no control. And so that no matter what happens in the world, your life is going to go on. Someday he's going to fix his muffler. Your life is going to go on pretty much as it always has. That's what these books are about. You don't want to be scrapping and scrambling around and afraid of everything that happens. Prepare in the Stonemont way, and you will realize that you are not living a life of worry. You're simply living a life of paying attention and responsibility and being ready for what may come your way. And I'm going to make another one about how those people who have started their own Stonemonts as a result of reading the books. Got a lot to do today. I may not do it today. Today is we go out to vote on some things here in Kansas today. It'll be interesting to see how those turn out. And that's an important part of your preparedness, is being involved in the political process. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I'll tell you, the reasons that there are problems in our country is because the wrong people had an effect on the political process, and the other people didn't stand up and work hard enough against it. Just putting that out there. Do with it what you want. So remember that. Is there going to be war with China? Probably not. Does that mean there aren't going to be any problems? No. But do those problems have to be devastating to you? No, they don't. Basic preparedness. So fill up your tanks, fill up your propane bottles, make sure that your food stocks are up. Use all of these little worries, all these things as a drill. I've always said that, and I stress that. Every one of these things, whether it's whether it's the latest solar flare, the sun is very active now, and every day there's a new report about another solar flare or another sunspot that has tripled in size, whatever. I read them. I keep up to date on those things. But it doesn't bother me because I have always prepared for that. See, basic and total. Now, when I say basic, I also mean total preparedness. But Steve, nobody can be totally prepared. Okay, all right. We can talk about that forever. And if you were here drinking coffee and we had 3 or 4 hours, I'd be happy to invest my time in showing you where you're wrong. But since you can't, read these books. You'll learn. So what's going to happen, we don't know. But use these, like I say, as a drill. If it's just say, if this were going to happen, what do I need to tighten up on? What makes me uncomfortable? What do I wish I would have more? Imagine all the lights go out. Ooh, what do I wish I had more? Batteries? More fuel for the generator? Whatever. Okay, I just wanted to put that in. Now I'll probably go watch a few of the other videos from a couple of the other channels. I don't follow many channels. I don't find that most of them are worth following, to be honest. There are a few who are, and here in the near future, I'm going to be telling you which ones I think those are. Now I'll see what they have to say, because they're bright people, and they are also doing what it takes, not just talking the game and trying to scare people, but actually doing what it takes, and they have been for a long time. And really, some of them have their own little stone mouth. So you all just keep that in mind. Don't be worried. Don't be all frazzled about this. Go out and do something to add to your preparedness position, and then leave it up to the good Lord and let him direct you and which way you ought to go next. That's what I do. Okay, you all have a great day. Remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and do that. Join us. Go down again. Want to know how to get the books? They're down below. You know what? There's some people who just hate the fact that I advertise my books. I think it's jealousy that they don't have books to sell. Well, that's what I am. I'm a writer. I'm not really a YouTube guy. I'm a writer who started being on YouTube to talk about my books, and I don't talk about them nearly as much as I thought that I would. And so go down there, or down there's the link to join us on Patreon, and we'd love to have you there, and I think you'd get a lot out of that too. So y'all have a good day, and I will talk to you a little later. Bye-bye.